Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jesse. Today I'm going to be reacting and commenting on your bookish red flags. I recently went over onto my community tab here on YouTube and asked you guys to submit your bookish red flags. And today I'm going to be reacting to the things that have you running from books. Have you throwing down the red flags saying no, 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 shoe fly, don't bother me. You've been book blocked. And I'm looking forward to going over all the things that have you guys side-eyeing books and seeing if I relate to anything. Let's get started. I'm reading these directly off my laptop, so if I don't look into the camera, that's why. I'm not being shy, I promise. When LGBTQ+ characters are added as background characters to make the author seem inclusive, even though they all end up alone or forgotten. Starting with a strong one here, a banger out the gate, but this is definitely one of those moments where I'm like, yes, preach it. You're so right and I am on your team. It's incredibly frustrating too because they either fall under two camps. One is that the LGBTQIA+ character is much more interesting than the main character and you'd just rather be following that sort of background character as the main character. And then the other camp is the fact that they just like write that character with a bunch of stereotypes and it's like, you just wanted to have a little bit of representation in your book. You had a box to check. You tried to check it, but we can tell you didn't do any research. Ma'am, sir. It falls into this place where instead of it feeling inclusive, it just feels offensive. And if that's not a vibe killer, then I don't know what is. The red flag is raised high into the sky for this one. When all the drama / plot could be solved with an honest conversation between characters. So basically, the miscommunication trope. I'm with you on this one, bestie. I, for the most part, can't stand the miscommunication trope. Like, even though I know it's one of the more common ways that conflict gets kicked off, it's still frustrating. I don't like it. Truthfully though, I think this can be frustrating because as the reader, like you're able to like see both sides. You're able to see the miscommunication happening. So it's easy for us to come into the picture and just be like, just talk it out, dummies. Just talk it out. Communicate. Put them into the communication field, coach. But of course that's because we've got all the information behind the miscommunication that's happening. I'm honestly exhausted thinking about this trope in particular. I think I am very particular on what gets miscommunicated too. Like I think there are times when it can work and then there are times when it's just like frustrating. Frustrates me down to my core. I feel like if it's causing like a huge wreck of a problem, I'm like, spit it out. Low key, this is a big reason why I have a hard time reading the Shadowhunter books these days because I feel like this trope is used constantly. Half the time the characters withhold information from each other and just don't sit down and talk things out, and they'd be less in a mess if they just sat down, talk things through. And like, I get it, they're babies, they're still learning how to communicate, but it just gets to a point where it's like, how long are we going to be doing this miscommunication thing? Huh? Tell me. If it's gonna be 600 pages of miscommunication, I'm out. Romanticizing stalking. Points were made. Honestly, what can I even add to that? Because truthfully, I shouldn't have to add anything to that. Stalking is not romantic, and we should not see it as anything but creepy behavior. Like, just put yourself in the shoes of the person being stalked. If you were being stalked, would you be like, oh my god, that's so sexy, so cute, so romantic. I hope I fall in love with this mysterious person who's following me everywhere I go. Respectfully, if you do feel like you would react that way to somebody stalking you, seek help. Please, can we stop romanticizing stalking? When they make romance only about the physical stuff halfway through and there's no more emotion type character building, I feel like these types of relationships keep popping up in books and sometimes I just want more of the little stuff, you know? Honestly, this is something that I hadn't thought about, but you bring up a solid point. I feel like this is something that I'm gonna look out more for in the future, even though truthfully I don't read that many books that like really fall into like a super schmexy physical place, you know? Not a lot of woohooing happening in the books that I've been reading recently, except for that like door romance that I read. Yeah, but I do agree with you. I don't feel like a relationship should only be portrayed as the physical part because a relationship is obviously so much more than that. And like, a relationship doesn't end there. Like when you get in a relationship and the physical things start to happen, like that's not what like caps off the relationship. Like you continue to grow, you continue to have discussions, you continue to go through challenges, you continue to just like grow your bond together, not only with the physical part. Like obviously the physical part is a part of that, but there's so much more to it. But if you didn't know that, I'm not sure I can help you. So I completely understand why this has you throwing the red flags down. When characters are constantly described as hot, sexy, and just so beautiful, it really just weirds me out. This, absolutely this, when I tell you this is one of my biggest icks, I mean, I can't stand it. It hurts my eyes, makes it feel like my eyes are bleeding, causes the cringe of the century, has me scrunching my face in distaste, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. Also, the last thing that I want to do is feel insecure while reading a book, and I feel like the hotness that is being described in books is always a specific body type that does not align with my own, and it just makes me feel insecure about my little body. It always makes me sus though, because I'm like, what world are you living in where everybody's body is amazing? People have muscles on top of muscles on top of muscles, and big and juicy booties are everywhere. Where are all my flat pancake butts out there? Come on now. Come on, I can't be the only one. It just feels so unserious when I'm reading a book and I get the ick real quick. It's not that hot people aren't allowed to exist in books, but sometimes it's just off-putting the way that they're described, and they're all described the same way, which to me just makes it boring. Give me more body variety. Any coho book/plot. Honestly, understandable. I would add to that list any author who decides it's a good idea to make a coloring book after a book that has abuse in it. Or an author who decides it's a cute idea to come out with a collection of nail polishes based off a book that has abuse in it. But I'm not gonna open that can of worms today. When the female main character hates the other women characters. I feel like this always has me feeling like, did a male write these characters? Because I smell a male behind these characters. Don't get it twisted. Girls are allowed to beef. Girls are allowed to fight. But if it's a constant issue when the main girly pop can't get along with all the other girly pops, seems a little sus, chief. When we get hammered with so many different narrators doing completely different things in the first few chapters. I get that an author like really wants to grab your attention, but there's a way to grab our attention without causing a whiplash situation to happen. Work us up to the whiplash, will ya? Work us up to the thrill ride. We're still getting to know these characters and I need a processing period, please. Is that too much to ask for? Like, I love the chaos, but like, let me learn the characters before we're thrown into the chaos. When mental health issues are solved by romance/the love interest, some of these characters need therapy and a bigger support system than just one character. 110%. I feel like there was like a YA book phase where this was like a constant thing. Love could cure all. Dear authors, can we take a seat and recognize just how toxic this is? I can assure you of this, ain't no man gonna solve anybody's mental health issues. The size difference between characters, especially in romance books, like when the woman is teeny tiny and the man is humongous, sometimes so huge that he can't fit into regular furniture. It's so weird. You're so right for this. Why does this happen? Why are the men always like abnormally huge and the women like Polly Pocket size? I'm uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable. Me no likey. It's concerning how normalized this is in the romance genre too. What I want to see more rep of is our tall girlies with short love interests, or our bad A muscular girlies with a slim biscuit love interest. Not more of whatever this small girl and behemoth of a man fetish is. I want nothing to do with it anymore. And like, I know that that's like a normal thing. Like there are people that are like short and tall that end up together. Like that's not the issue here. It's with these books that have these like specific body types. It's like the body types become a part of their personality and they're constantly being mentioned of like how short and small and petite they are, or how huge, massive, gargantuan they are, and it's just like, stop, full stop. Describing all POC characters as exotic or only comparing their skin tone to foods. This always has me thinking two things. One, tell me you've not had a sensitivity reader without telling me you haven't had a sensitivity reader. I feel like it's 2024 and sensitivity readers should just be like a normalized part of the publishing process. Then my other thought is, if you're still writing POC characters in this way, I think you might need to take a step back from writing and do a little work. Do a little work on yourself. You know, just have a little check with yourself. When an author romanticizes abusive behavior or tries to cover it up with a sad backstory, some of these feel so pointed. I almost wish y'all would have dropped like specific book examples, but I also feel like I'm sort of able to read between the lines and be like, yeah, I know the books that are being correlated with these. You know what's even wilder to me is that these books make it all the way through to publication. Like, yes, it is wild that in the first place the author writes the story and sees nothing wrong with it, but then it gets picked up by an agent who reads it and is like, yes, this is amazing, let's try to get this published. And then it's picked up and it's published. And then there are thousands of people who read it and love it and don't see an issue. Like, what? Does everyone have their eyes closed while reading these books? I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. When the author dedicates the book to someone they hate. Is this a thing that an author has done? Why are people dedicating things that they put their heart and soul into to people that they hate? The math's not mathing. I'm confused. Feels like such a waste of energy and a massive amount of petty. And I love petty, but this is another level of petty. When someone is padding into the room, padding down the hall, padding up the stairs, padding everywhere. Maybe the real padding was the friends we made along the way. When the plot already closes out good, but there's still a bunch of pages left. See, I love that cushioning. I love seeing a little bit of aftermath. Mind you, I don't need like 100 pages of cushioning. That's too much. That's taking it too far. But I feel like for me, that little aftermath just like brings on the warm fuzzies. When an author tries to over-explain everything, not giving enough credit to the reader who can figure things out just fine. Bestie, you and I are on the same page. This drives me nuts. Bonkers. I hate it. When the evil/bad guy character is distinguished as evil only through a physical disability. Example, tropes of scarred villains, hunchback evil stepmother, others, plus demonized mental illness. This one is interesting, and let me be clear, I fully agree with you, but it just reminds me of like being a kid and just how normalized this was. Like as a kid, a lot of the villainous characters that we came across or came in contact with through books or movies or TV shows all have this. As a kid, you don't really think much of it, but then you grow up and you have some character growth, which thank God for character growth, when every good friendship eventually develops into a romantic relationship. Friendships are important too. I agree, and I am a sucker for a friends to lovers moment, even though I feel like we've had kind of an oversaturation of friends to lovers, but there's something so special about a friendship element not going further than a romance, because platonic relationships are so important, and I feel like they're not showcased as much these days as they should be. So here's to hoping that becomes a trend in the near future. Male characters. I mean, I know you're joking, but you're so right for this. The biggest red flag in any book ever is male characters, and that's the tea. Those are all the bookish red flags that I'm going to be reacting to today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun going through your bookish red flags. I feel like I agreed with a majority of them. There were like a few that I was like, about, but for the most part, most of us are on the same page, and I'm happy about that. But I do want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Were there any red flags that came up throughout this video that you agree with or disagree with? I want to hear all your thoughts down below in the comments. If you didn't see your bookish red flag pop up in this video, then let me know what it is down below in the comments. Maybe I'll do this video again in the future. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye. I might still be in frame, I can't tell.